Thank you for clicking on the bait. Now let me explain this title in its fullest. It just needs some context. It applies to me just as much as you. The reason I titled my first video the 1000th first step is because this has not been the first time since my weight gain that I've gone down the path of losing weight. I remember when I was around 280 pounds, I told myself if I ever crossed that disgusting 300 pound mark that it would trigger an entire lifestyle change. Then I crossed it and went up around 40 pounds past that. No trigger happened. What's different between this time and all the other times is that I'm not just setting out to lose weight and become stronger. I'm setting out on doing things right. And with people watching me, I have that burning itch in the back of my mind that I need to do things right so others can see it. I didn't add enough emphasis on this last time. I am talking about habits. The video is going to be about the first week of October, but I'm typing this out on the 15th. I've begun to feel the effects of habits slowly taking over and helping me with my stupidity and weaknesses. Working out is slowly but surely turning over into an autopilot mode in my head. We as people cannot really handle all of the non-stop stimulation flowing through us. There is way too much for us to remember and think about. Think about something like a diet, and how often you end up eating food you're not supposed to, only to realize either after or halfway through the meal, wait a minute, I shouldn't be eating this. This is the point of solidifying habits. They become a cheat code, and you can further modify those cheat codes in various ways that we will slowly expand upon as this series progresses. I say slowly because I am well aware of how when you try to solidify multiple habits at once, you end up wasting away all your willpower and can't get any of them down. No, you can't really do it on your own. No, your willpower is not enough. Learn about habits and just how powerful they are. A book I will recommend on the subject is called Atomic Habits. It does an excellent job breaking down how important habits are and how you can develop them. At its peak power and potential, if you master habits, you won't even have to worry about losing weight. Your habits will autopilot you to weight loss and you will hardly even be aware of it. Anyway, I wrote this after the rest of the script, so let's get back to the show. Welp, I wondered how long it would take me to fail at my goals, and it took me until day 2. I was going to work out after my stream, but the stream ended up going 4 hours longer than anticipated. It sucks, but at least I made up for it the next day by doing both foam rolling and introducing stretching. The first stretch I did is the main stretch that someone in my position needs to do. My position being someone who spends 80 hours a day sitting and has the butt tilt. It's called the couch stretch. I highly recommend this stretch for anyone who spends a lot of time sitting. It doesn't even need a couch. You can do it on the ground where it magically changes its name to the lunge stretch. The next part, I'm going to take a look at the stretches I did and trying to point out any mistakes I'm making so you can avoid them. Okay, so this stretch is called the Piriformis Stretch. Spelling will be in the description. There's a variety of ways to do this stretch. Some might be more comfortable for you than others, so I recommend looking it up to see all the variants. It's especially important to stretch that muscle out if you find yourself having lower back pain or pain on the upper back part of your leg. A mistake I initially did that I quickly noticed and fixed was my rounded back problem. I actually kept going back and forth with that mistake. You don't want to give yourself a hunchback in almost every scenario. Just to make sure there's no misconceptions, I'm not actually pushing on my leg. At this stage, I don't need to do any type of pushing. The mere weight of my arm is enough to keep it in check. This stretch here, I don't even know the name of. It was shown in a yoga class once and I found it quite beneficial. Here's a view from a different day in the week that I shot for some B-roll footage. I'm putting it here to ask if anyone knows what it's called, and otherwise won't really comment on it until I have a way of pointing people in the right direction to look it up themselves. The stuff you see in the series is meant to be a guide, not something to directly imitate. Here's a basic 1-foot toe touch stretch, but I became so focused on the toes that you can see the ridiculous amount of tension in my shoulders and neck. Obviously, that's not good. You can see it on the other side as well. And take a look at my knee. Look at how bent it is. You want your knee to be straight for the stretch. This is not a good thing. I'm doing a terrible job at the stretch. F for the T-man. On a different day, I decided to modify the way I did the stretch, and instead of sitting down, I did it while still on the couch. It helped alleviate a lot of problems I was having, despite not being able to touch my toes now. Next is the basic butterfly stretch. I'm using the couch for some extra support, and again, I'm not actually pushing down on my knees. The hands are more so resting, and basic gravity is all I need here. This is followed by more toe touching, or with both feet instead of just one at a time. The feel of these stretches is different enough that I consider them separate. Finally, rounding it off with the classic Cobra. With that, later in the week, here is something new I added. So today hasn't officially begun yet, but I'm having some back issues, so I'm gonna show you probably my most favorite tool for working out. This. Look up lacrosse ball massage for a wide variety of ways to use this beautiful tool to your advantage. So that was day 2. Day 3 was frustrating. I didn't want to miss 2 days in a row, so I made it a big deal to make sure that I could do something. But sometimes that something is really difficult to fit. Everything I do on any given day is pretty meticulous, so fitting in an extra half hour throws quite a lot into disarray. It's an incredibly common problem, time management. And I'm doing everything at home. I can only imagine if I had to go to the gym what this would be like. I was able to fit in stretching without foam rolling before my live stream. Not ideal, but still something. So I'm going to need to figure out how I can fix all of this without having to wake up early. Reasons why I have that limitation will be explained at some other point. So I've got the possibility of doing the foam rolling and stretching before I eat on days where there's too much on my plate. And that's the route I'm going to be taking. Unlike something like weight training, I don't have to worry too much about diminished performance due to hunger with the level I am at now. In fact, when spring rolls around, you'll see me doing a lot more training before breakfast when I have weight loss as a bigger focus. But more on that when we come to it next year. Some observations at the end of week 1. Even adding an extra 15 to 30 minutes a day stretching has been a pain in the ass and is messing up my schedule. But that's one of the reasons why my focus has been mainly small things to develop the habit. I've started to feel the tiniest of tinges that it's becoming part of my daily routine, but it's not solidified yet, so I still need to be mindful of it. Foam rolling when you haven't done it in a while can hurt, but it's been hurting less and less. Even in just a week, I can feel its effects. Parts of my body feel like they're finally getting blood flow for the first time in ages. Please don't clip that out of context. It's kind of difficult to really talk about much else, as we're still in the early stages. Next video is when we add some physical exercise to the mix, as I build upon what I've done so far.